I ranked the best and the worst AI tools that you can use in your business in 2026. Some of these tools are awesome. They're going to streamline your workflows, boost productivity, grow revenue, even boost your careers. Other tools, you might waste some time and churn and not get the results you need. So I'm going to go through them one by one and share with you my ranking on a scale of what you need to use, what could be good for your company, and what to avoid. So they're rated A, B, and C. So the A tools are the best for use in your company because they can automate, streamline workflows. The B rating are okay, you can use them, but they have some limitations. And the C ratings are not great or very specific use cases. I'm going to rate the 6 popular AI tools out there right now: Copilot, Claude, Gemini, Manus, and ChatGPT and Grok. I've personally used all of these tools. I've been testing them since they came out, been using AI for nearly 10 years now, way before it became popular, because I have to, because our business is all around how do we streamline our operations, reduce cost, and boost productivity, not only for my own company, but also for my clients. So let's get into this. We're going to rate each one of these tools for company use, starting with Copilot. So Microsoft Copilot, I use this one first because most companies have access to it. Most companies are either using Google or the Microsoft suite. If you're using Microsoft, you already have access to the free Copilot, and you also have access to the base Copilot. The problem you need to know about with the base Copilot, or Copilot Chat as it's called, is that it uses the data inside your company. So it's not sharing it with the model for learning like the free version. So using your enterprise license Copilot Chat is a good way to start. Now, I'm going to put it up on the B level. And the reason it's not A, even though most companies have access to it, is because it has some limitations. It's built on the OpenAI ChatGPT model, but it's not always getting the latest releases of ChatGPT. On the plus side, once you get to the enterprise version, it is linked to all your documents. And that has an important point to note around document loss prevention and also the rights management for your documents. So that's why I put it as B. It's a great tool, but it's not the best tool out there. So let's look at another of my favorites for workflow, Claude. So Claude, I'm going to put up on the A tier. The reason I put it in the A tier, because if it's configured in the right way, so you're using the business or the enterprise level paid plans, then it's not using your data to train it on the LLM model behind the scenes. It's keeping your data safe and secure. The reason I have Claude ahead of Copilot is because it's so far ahead in terms of workflows and management of business processes. I find it's really good for conversations and creating communications, but that's just scratching the surface. Once you get into Claude Cowork, you're starting to use it on your own device and your laptop or a Mac Mini, and then you're automating complete end-to-end processes like invoice processing or accounts payable or reviews of month-end close processes. So Claude, I'd rate ahead of Copilot. Next, we're going to talk about Gemini. So Gemini, I'm going to move ahead of Copilot, but slightly behind Claude. And the reason for that is that Claude is slightly ahead in terms of the number of workflows it's bringing out quicker. It's releasing models much faster. But Gemini is not far behind. They're catching up really fast. This Google productivity workspace is awesome, especially Notepad LLM. Using that for workflow puts it ahead of Copilot because it's also integrated with your Google Workspace. So as long as you're using a paid plan, then you know that you're getting your data secure and not shared with the training models. So I'd put Gemini just ahead of Copilot, just behind Claude in the top tier ranking. Next, we're going to talk about Manus. So Manus, I'm going to put on the same level as Gemini. And the reason for that is because Manus is slightly different in AI. So we use that for deep research. When you put a chat or a conversation into Manus, you're not going to get a response quickly. If you want to do research on a document, look at some industry insights, do some review on regulations, you put the chat into Manus, And it won't come back for maybe 5, 10, or 15 minutes because it's doing some really good, deep analysis. So it's not necessarily as good at responding to emails and for communications, but it is very good at doing deep research. Now, here's the trick. You can build on that to actually build out some workflows. So it's also very good at producing documentation, websites, and then starting to call other applications. So its integrations are very strong, which is why I rate it on par with Gemini, but just slightly behind Claude because Claude is a little bit more versatile. Next up is ChatGPT. So I'm going to put ChatGPT on the same level as Copilot. So ChatGPT is awesome. The reason I add it slightly behind Claude, Gemini, and Manus is because I find that some of the responses are getting a bit more commercial these days. Although the chat and the response around emails and communications is very, very good. And by the way, its latest image generation is absolutely phenomenal. I use it for image generation all the time. However, it does take time to get the integration set up. And it also feels as though it's slightly behind in terms of some of the models and some of the business applications that it's creating. So it's not a bad tool by any means, which is why I've put it on the same level as Copilot. But I'll put it slightly behind Manus, Gemini, and Claude because it feels as though it's not quite as good when I use it on a day-to-day basis. And also for the workflow management, it's not quite as good as creating those end-to-end workflows. And then lastly, I want to talk about Grok. So nothing against Grok, but it's built on X data. So when you think about all the data in X, that's awesome for conversation. In fact, I find Grok the best for conversational responses, for drafting communications and emails, because it's built on human conversation. However, for workflow and company use, I'm going to rate it at the bottom for a very specific niche case of communication. Because it's based on X data, it's not really geared up for the workflows yet. I'm interested to see where this goes and where the company takes Grok. But right now, I'm going to put it at the bottom of this list. That doesn't mean it's a bad product. It just means it's not the best selection for company use right now. So that's my rating of the 6 big AI tools out there right now. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Have I missed anything out on this list? Let me know in the comments below, because I'm always interested to find out how you're using your AI tools. And in the meantime, hopefully that was helpful and you can use this in your company tomorrow, and we'll see you in the next video.